Hello, beautiful. How are you? And how are you taking care of yourself today? All right, I got a big disclaimer here before we jump in and get started. There are might be some extra special barks and noises from my end. Yes, while I'm in kind of like a podcast booth in my office, we are also getting a new mattress today. Yes, it has come to the point in our lives where we have finally put the puzzle together of why both of our backs have been hurting. So, in the vein of today's content, we went to a bed store and we got a new mattress. And something I just realized is that my laptop is not plugged in. So I am going to go plug in my laptop. And while I am doing that, please, if you're joining me live or in the replay, please let me know how you are and how you are taking care of yourself today. I am trying to find my feed here on Facebook and I can't seem to find it, and I don't know why. So if you are joining me from my Joyfully Ever After group, I may or may not see your comments for some weird reason. But all right, let me go plug in. All right, so we are secured for the duration of the podcast and live show. So, who am I? Hello, I am Heidi Esther. I'm here for another Grow Your Joyful Life Foundational PlayShop. I'm an author, speaker, and joyful purpose coach, and your best new non-preachy mom friend. Or if you think about it, I'm kind of like Mr. Rogers for people pleasers who loves baking chocolate chip cookies. However, I can't bake cookies for everybody, or it'd be really expensive, but that's really not my zone of genius, even though my cookies are very tasty. So, I am here to bring you my peculiar genius, how I was divinely created, so that you can step into your divine joy and create the joyful life that you deserve. I have playful tools and transformative inner lessons with some wacky, relatable stories so you can ditch the exhaustion and busyness and putting your needs last and really activate that joy in your life. So, beautiful. Are you ready to put your happiness first and move towards more joy? Even when you haven't been sleeping because you didn't realize how old your bed was, and beds need to be replaced more than once every decade and a half. All right. So, yes, whether or not you're here or live or in the replay, please let me know how you are and how you are taking care of your beautiful heart today. And if you don't feel like doing the social media comment thing, you can always email me at howdy@heidiester.com. I would love to hear from you and how your journey to your joyfully ever after has been, or just what's going on, or what's your favorite chocolate chip cookie recipe. It's all good. Yeah. Or if you have any other questions, feel free to send me the questions. Okay. Today is not much as a one story, as a compilation of stories. So today we are talking about I call it the I can do it myself syndrome. I know it kind of sounds like a toddler, right? I want to do it all by myself. So, also known as, have you ever said to yourself, "Oh, I got this. I can figure it out. I'm going to Hulk through this and get it done." We always use Hulk in my house. We're Avengers. Avengers people, or I'm totally the rock in our relationship, or in my mom group, or in my workplace, and my family, at my church. Or do you ever think about, like, I would rather give, like, would you so much rather give gifts and give your time than receive it? Like, receiving gifts is like this super awkward thing, and you're just kind of like, I don't know, I just would rather give you all the things. Um, and does it make you feel awkward? Like, heaven forbid I should have to ask for any help. Much rather just, give it all. So I've totally been and said all of those things, all of the above. I got this. I could figure it out myself. I got this, no problem. Or like, oh, they're so lucky I am here to help right now, because this would have been like a total hot mess. But like, it's great to do that, just not like all the time. Okay. Yes. So today I want to talk a little bit about growing up to be independent, self-reliant, to be that person that everyone kind of like leans on for support, and like that extra nudge of encouragement or the extra piece of advice. The person that is not perceived to need any help, right? We're brought up to help other people. I was brought up to be mommy's little helper. I was brought up not to be a quitter, right? Other people were relying on me. So why quit? And one instance in particular that really shaped me, even though it was a very small piece. So during my high school career, I was very blessed to have my dad as my physics teacher. I know once I tell people that, they're always like, Heidi, how can you even have handled that? But my dad and I had very, very good rapport, and it was always a joy to be in the classroom with him. During my high school there was this big word that was thrown around a lot called the paradigm shift, and this other big word called collaboration. So there was this big, big new thing in the workforce that instead of kind of working in your cubicle, everyone was now put into teams, and they were collaborating, and they were finding all these paradigm shifts because people were working together, were helping each other achieve more than what people had done individually. And I remember, because I had grown up to be this independent, self-reliant little lady, going to get it done. I can do it myself. I'm mommy's little helper. It had filtered down into at least a high school realm, where my dad and other teachers were encouraged to have people put in teams. So teams, groups of teams, group projects, and we all had to help each other and work together. And I remember my dad saying, oh, this is just a fad, and it's not gonna stay, and just keep doing your thing, which to me was being an independent, academic, self-reliant, just kind of doing my own thing. And like, I would help other people, but mostly I would just kind of, nose to the grindstone, and just, keeping it going. The problem with that was that, I often felt, right, and I'm gonna talk about the dark sides. So the problem with the lone wolf was that, I did a lot of homework. I was by myself a lot. I did all my chores like in the weekend at between midnight and like 2 a.m. Because academics kind of like smushed everything else out. And yeah, so it turns out that was not a fad. that was just kind of like, that's kind of like how us humans were created to be. We were kind of created to be together in these groups, not the lone wolf, right? The lone wolf doesn't ever get a slice of the kill from the hunt, right? The lone wolf gets to starve in the wilderness. And so, all right. So the dark side. So I just started in. What are the dark sides of of this, of what's so wrong with not needing help, right? With just saying, I'm gonna go up by myself, I'm gonna hulk through this, I'm gonna get her done. And I don't need help from anybody. I'm an independent, self-reliant kind of person. So what are the dark sides of that? So if you can already see what the dark sides of that, I would love to know. Like, write them in the chat, in the replay. You can totally email me what your journey has been, if you are someone who's a really, really hard time receiving help. I'm going to tell you what some of the dark sides could be from not receiving help. Okay, so everything in Earth, I know I'm going to go big here. Everything in Earth is on a cycle, right? The water's on a cycle. The growth, birth, and death of all of our plants are on a cycle, right? So like the sky gives the rain to the earth, which then it grows all of these plants and everything, which kind of die, and then the water goes back up into the clouds, and it's this cycle, right? So there's this giving and receiving from the earth, giving and receiving from the sky. Everything is giving and receiving. So what would happen if we kind of cut that off, right? So we're all meant to give and receive, right? So like as parents, we give all this energy and all this effort and all this love to our children, so that when they're older, we will we will sorry, the bed people are here and they totally distracted me. So in the end, when we get really old, that we end up receiving that help, right? So there's a cycle, even that, right, in our giving of effort and then our receiving of help, like throughout our whole life cycle as well. So when we don't ask for help, the dark side is we communicate to others and to ourselves that we're not worthy of needing help. We're not worthy of help. So we place ourselves below other people. So, and then that communicates that other people are better than us. Other people are more worthy and more deserving than us. But that could not be further from the truth. Spoiler, you are just as wonderful and deserving and divinely created and beautiful and miraculous and amazing as every other person. You have a peculiar genius that is just dying to come out and help you create joy in your life. So when we communicate we're not worthy of needing help, and then we think that other people are better than us and other people are more deserving of joy, but that it could be further from the truth. Okay, another dark side. We start to see ourselves and value ourselves by what we do, by what we can do for others, how we can help others. And we don't explore and we shut off and we don't value who we are as people, our human beings. We don't value ourselves as human beings. We value ourselves as human doings. And I can tell you in peeling your onion, coaching and talking about the peeling your onion process in the course, that the top 2 layers are hardcore layers that people use to help in service to other. The top layer is relationships, right? We build this layer of us in relationship to other people. That's how we were first born and first defined ourselves, as someone's child, right? And then we grow up and then we're like someone's siblings. And then we grow up a little more and we're like someone's significant other, someone's spouse, someone's aunt, right? And then someone's coworker, someone's manager. So that's the first layer that we ever know and we're conscious of in life, is like our relationship layer. And then the next layer after that is our hard skills. So these are 2 of the outermost layers of who we are in our onion. And if we just value what we're doing and how we can help others and what we can do for others, we will never get below those layers. And you know what's below those layers? Your miraculous, divine joy, your messy, beautiful, peculiar quirks, and your core values and core beliefs that probably, if you're anything like me, need to be rewritten because some of them don't serve you and they just keep hurting you over and over. So all of these messy, amazing layers of you are just sitting there in the dark, being ignored because you're so focused on you as a human doing and not as a human being. So that, I think, is the real dark side, the grievous side of just being helping others and being focused on helping others and not being focused on receiving help. Okay. One of the other real grievous things about not receiving help and not wanting help is we close ourselves off to being more authentic, and we close ourselves off to having more rich relationships, because when we think we project this image that we don't need help and then we got it all together and we're going to do this and no problem, then we build this wall around ourselves that's perpetuated in social media. Like, I'm fine, I'm perfect, I got it all together, no problem. You know what that is? A giant wall. You know what that is? Not you. That's not authentically what's happening. You're not admitting to yourself that, you know what, it's okay to need help. It's okay to not be fine. It's okay to not be perfect. You are not meant to be the lone wolf. We were all born as part of a pack of humans and a pack of mammals who are in relationship with other mammals on this planet. And the real horrible thing is then we wonder why our kids suffer in silence, because that's what we're doing. So then we're perpetuating this cycle where our kids aren't reaching out for help because we don't want to reach out for help. It's hard for our kids to ask for help if we can't ask for help. I can't even state this enough. I have 2 kids that are a little more self-aware because their mom loves to talk to them about feelings. And so at different points in their lives, they have let me know that they are not okay and that they need help. And that has only deepened my relationship with them as a parent. And you know what they're doing? They're getting the help they need. They got the help they need. Right? How are we all gonna, heal this earth if we can't admit that we need help once in a while? We can't. Then we're just spending all this time, I keep thinking the word fronting our perfectionism, and then we're fine and it's all good. And inside we're dying inside. We're exhausted inside. We're numb inside. We don't know what's going inside. We only have those outer 2 layers of being in relationship to other people and these hard skills. So the last part of the dark side is, and this is something that I can personally attest to, is by helping other people and not asking for help, we end up putting feeling needed in our relationship. Like, my relationships were based off of feeling needed and what I could do for people above feeling good about myself as a person, not as what I could do. So I never felt good of myself as a person because I was only valuing myself over how needed I was at that moment, how perfect I could be, how much I didn't need help. Okay. All right. I know that was a bit of a soapbox, and I thank you for that. But I can't stress this enough that it's just time to continue that cycle. It's time to continue that cycle of giving and receiving. Okay. So we went over the dark side. Whew. I know it was a bit of a Darth Vader kind of moment, right? I mean, that man, he was projected being perfect, and he never can even imagine Darth Vader asking for help. I know, that's pretty funny. He didn't have any relationships other than when he would see people and choke them, looks like he choked them and then put hard-boiled eggs in their throat. That's what I always thought was happening in Star Wars, was he would make hard-boiled eggs in people's throats and then they would choke and die. Anyway, yeah. And I would say Darth Vader is definitely more of a lone wolf than part of the pack, right? So let's move into Jedi. How can we Jedi this up? All right. So please let me know if you relate to any of those dark sides of not helping, of not perceiving, not asking for help. So let's move in to how we can move ourselves from that dark side and kind of feeling stuck and quiet into someone who can gratefully ask for, I know it sounds terrifying, ask for and receive help. So before we get started, I want to let you know that I'm in a place of great transition in my professional life, which is kind of like my personal and professional life now, because I'm the same person in both realms, which is kind of amazing. And I have really had to embrace asking for help and gratefully receiving help. I would not be able to do what I'm doing if I wasn't part of a big woven net with other people, supporting them and them supporting me. I can't do this. I'm not doing this alone, even though I'm a solopreneur. I am not alone. I'm not alone. I am supported and I am helped. I support other people and I help them. And together we rise. Together we heal. And together we grow. Okay. So the first thing I want to talk about, so there's 5 steps. We're going to go over 5 steps about how to move into this. Okay. Move into gratefully receiving help and actually asking for it. Okay, the first. I talk about this a lot in the Peeling Your Onion journey. It is the first step of all the steps. Step 1 of, 1 million. Step 1 of 1,000. Practice shoes. Everything in life we do is practice. Practice for something else. We don't even know what it's practice for most of the time. But if you adopt a mindset that you put on the practice shoes and you take off the this is right and this is wrong and I was good or like I was bad. If you take all those words out of your vocabulary, the right, wrong, good, and bad, and you say, all right, this is practice, then it lets you adopt a mindset that, we're all you're work in progress. And we're going to find a way. It might not be on step 1, step 1 might be a couple steps back or, a lot of them. But with the mindset of practice shoes, it's going to help you adopt the resilient mindset that you will need to move forward into more joy in your life. You can give yourself a break knowing that you have your practice shoes on, right? Like this is practice. You're going to try something out and see if it works. Yeah. So it may work, it may not work, but you're going to learn something, right? You're going to learn something about yourself that will help you in the long run. All right, so practice shoes. So important to keep going and not quit. Because think about it. You as a person, isolated, right? That life is going to be a little not as happy. It's going to be not as connected. And it's going to be not as joyful. And you're not going to find out as much about you, right? Because you're just going to be in those outer 2 layers. The inner layers is where the joy is. Okay. Step 2 is called let the crutch go. So what does that mean? Let the crutch go. So a lot of times we don't know, but we end up relying on what other people think of us as our only source of self-worth. I am talking from experience here. So we put these crutches on. Like I used to walk around with in my purse all the time, under my pillow, in my purse, in my work desk, and in my nightstand. I had thank you notes from people. The thank you notes were what people sent to me after I did something for them, right? That was the only time I felt good about myself, was through other people. My self-worth was based totally based on what other people thought of me. So we need to let that go. We need to start kind of like loosening our grip and letting that crutch go. So we need to build our self-worth from within as a human being and not from without as a human doing, right? Letting go of what other people think of us, of of other people being disappointed in us. We have to let that go. And one of the only ways to let that go without completely losing it is to build the self-worth from within. So you're not sitting there with a gaping hole, like freaking out, like nobody loves me. What's the point of everything? By building your self-worth from within, then you can let the crutch go from other people that'll let you take the other steps. So how can you do this? Okay. So you can enjoy time as yourself, with yourself. Like take yourself on dates. Figure out what makes you happy. Or ask yourself every morning. So ask yourself every morning, how am I going to take care of myself today? How can you take care of yourself today first? How can you put your happiness first above what anybody else needs of you, right? Taking care of yourself. So you're building that self-worth from within, not from the outer validation. So in the morning, you could say, how am I going to take care of myself today? And then guess what? Do it. And then every evening to mind do the rest part of the circle, you could say, you can do reflection. What brought me happiness or joy today? So you start to pay attention to what things, how you can take care of yourself, and then do it. And then you do reflection every evening. What brought me happiness or joy today? So you start to notice the things outside of when you're helping other people that bring you happiness or joy. Or maybe it's like part intertwined of how you help other people. I used to be happiest when I would go to coffee with friends, right? I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't like making them a meal or planning an event or doing a play date with my kids. I was just sitting there and connecting through my authentic truth as myself with other people who are also being authentic. Right? Go figure, I'm a joyful purpose coach, connecting authentically with people, making wacky stories. So, there's my speaker in there right there. So, think about like what brought me happiness or joy today. And sometimes, what brings me joy? Baking. Yes, chocolate chip cookies. I also have a really good brownie recipe. I have a whole thing about brownies, which I'll talk to you about later. Actually next. So, it's really hard about this of letting go and taking time for yourself. I'm going to say one word: guilt. Guilt for taking time for yourself. Guilt for being happy that's not related to being productive or helping other people. I have a link in this podcast or show. It's a PlayShop, another Grow Your Foundational Joyful Life Foundational PlayShop on guilt, and there's a brownie story in there and everything. I highly advise you to listen to it. Yes, the whole first part is about worth. I know, surprise, surprise. But yeah, work on your guilt. Work on your guilt. It's so important to be able to put your guilt in perspective of like how it comes up and why. And I talk a little bit about why guilt happens and what we can do about to find that peace within, so we can have peace with ourselves and we can find more joy. So getting rid of the guilt will also end that perpetual struggle in the brain about feeling like you're less of a person if you ask for help, or you're like a burden on other people, or you're doing something wrong if you have to ask for help. Asking for help means you are actually a part of humanity and you're contributing to that big circle of giving and receiving. It means you're part of the pack. You're not meant to be a lone wolf. Okay. Step 3, baby steps. Okay. So now we're getting into the really fun part. Baby steps. I call them morning baby steps. So think about this. We're letting our crutches go and we're going to take baby steps forward. So we are going to practice gratefully receiving. So just gratefully receiving. Not help, just I call them morning baby steps. So in the morning, think of 3 things you can gratefully receive. Even if it's like, I gratefully receive the warmth that's under my covers right now. And practice feeling that because it feels so good, right? When we're all nestled in and cozy in our beds. You can practice receiving the sunlight that comes on your face when you walk outside. You can practice gratefully receiving that the first sip of coffee or Diet Coke, or life-giving water, right? Fresh water in the morning, gratefully receiving that into your body and being present with it. This is part of the receiving. So it doesn't have to be giant things you receive like big Christmas gifts or anything like that. Just vary the basics. Like I gratefully receive my hands when a lot of times in the morning I will hold my own hands during my meditation so that I can receive my own love. So that gives you the practice of letting the universe know, I want more of these good feelings. I like gratefully receiving. I was made to gratefully receive. I am part of that circle. So part of these baby steps is also noticing. So I want you to also practice. So people ask us for help all the time, right? We're giving and receiving, giving and receiving. It's like a big circle. So practice the pause when people ask you for help. Notice what that feels like in your body. See how the different answers feel in your body. Don't say yes or no right away, but take that pause. Like be aware and take that pause and listen. You can say no with love. You can say, I love you and I can't do this. I love you and I can't do this. And let me see if I can help you find an alternate solution. Find somebody else to help you. You can say no with love. So part of the gratefully receiving is also you're gratefully receiving love too. And part of the saying no is learning to gratefully receive that love for yourself and speak up for that love for yourself. So you advocate for your past self who's overworked, your present self who's very busy, and your future self who wants to experience more joy. They want a richer, more connected, more joyful life in the back, not as the lone wolf. So the baby steps, right? Practice feeling all the good feelings of the love and the gratitude that come with receiving even those smallest of things, right? Sunlight, water, the fact that you're living, holding your own hand. Okay. Step 4, I call it the power voice. We're going to use the power voice. So, one of my goals in life and a lot of people's goals, right, is to kind of find this place where we're like really happy and in flow and enjoy and we're just like super productive and we're capitalizing on like all the different wacky ways we were made in our skills and everything in our quirks, and it kind of accumulates into what is called a zone of genius. Gay Hendricks wrote a whole book on this thing called The Zone of Genius. It's called The Big Leap. So what Gay does is he talks about the different zones. So there's what I call the zone of competence. It's like things that we all have to do that we do that we don't necessarily like and we're not necessarily the best at. Like me trying to fix my garage door. Oh, it looks like my dog is here. I'm going to come. If you're on the podcast, I'm sorry you won't be able to see Olive, but I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you her for everyone who's watching this live. All right. All right, so my Chweenie has decided to join me, and she does have a chair right next to me so I can pet her at any time. And I know it's a little ridiculous, but when you love a dog, you just kind of, you just pop them in the chair next to you so you can, I guess, give and receive love, right? So I give and receive love to Olive, and she gives and receives love from me, and it's all good. She is actually in a deck chair right next to me. You can't see it. And I have her little doggy bed on there and a little chewy bone. So, okay. Back to powerful voice. So, the goal is we love, right? Isn't the goal to feel happier and to feel more joyful? And that all happens. So, there's the zone of competence, which is stuff like doing laundry and weeding our yard, right? Stuff that we don't normally enjoy. Sometimes we're not necessarily the best at, but we kind of do. And then above that, above the zone of competence, is the zone of excellence. So things we get really good at. A lot of people, they spend their whole careers in the zone of excellence. We get paid really well to do these things. We've got a lot of good hard skills and soft skills, and our relationship, communication, and everything that goes right into that, into moving into our zone of excellence. And a lot of people get paid really well for that. But we don't even notice it, but we're not the shiniest. Now, when we combine everything, like we become more comfortable in our skin, and we accommodate our life, and we love all the different ways that we were made and how we were made to be creative, then we pop into this thing called the zone of genius, and it's like this beautiful area of like creativity and flow, and we're able to really contribute at a very high level. There aren't a lot of people doing what we're doing at that level. A lot of people in the zone of excellence arena, not so many people in the zone of genius. So you got to go through all your layers of your onion and kind of align them. Some people do it and, they don't know all the layers of the onion. They just get lucky. But it's kind of like, shooting at a target 200 yards away with a blindfold on versus going through all the layers of your onion, and then you could just like place the arrow right in the target, and you're like, there we go. I'm in my zone of genius. So there's also this thing called the zone of incompetence, which are things that you hate doing and you don't do well, and you'd rather just like avoid and procrastinate than ever do. So our life is muddled with all tasks in all these different arenas. Wouldn't it be great if you could stay closer to your zone of genius, and maybe other people's zone of genius is where your zone of incompetence was, or your zone of competence, like things you just didn't want to do? It is possible. And it's possible to stay more in your zone of genius and keeping other people in your zone of genius if you ask them for help with things in your zone of competence and incompetence. So, yes, I have just proven that asking for help will help you achieve more joy. Also, by using your voice and asking for help, you are also teaching everyone around you, your friends, your family, your children, to ask for help. That's a normal part of being alive, is asking for help. So that when other people actually need help, or they will reach out for help, and then now they will not sit in their depression or in suicidal thoughts or anything. They won't self-isolate, right? Then we create this whole context of being able to reach out and ask for help when we actually need it. Right? We're able to break that cycle and let our kids know that they're part of the pack. Asking for help is normal, and together we rise, right? Together we heal, together we grow, together we rise. And also, by not doing everything yourself and not helping other people so much and asking for help instead, you can allow other people to learn their own lessons as well. So by saying, no, you got to do that yourself, it allows them to do their own thing. That's my dog is having some coughs here. Yeah, because she was probably outside when the bed people were here, and she has fall allergies. So if you hear any more coughs, that is my dog. So what can you do to use your power voice? You can practice asking for help, right? Got the practice shoes still on. Asking for help with things that don't bring you happiness or joy, things that aren't, way up there in your zone of genius or zone of excellence. Practice asking for help. And practice asking for help and letting the outcome go. It's okay. Some people are going to say no, but some people are going to say yes. Everyone has their own issues. It has nothing to do with you whatsoever. You got to let go of that, right? Practice letting go and not taking it personally. And practice asking for help with things that don't bring you happiness or joy. Okay, last step. I call it the power pants. So, power pants is a positive, adopting a positivity mindset about the whole thing. So we have our practice shoes on. So let's put our positively powerful pants on. Okay. I like to create mantras that help me reframe the I'm a burden by asking for help to I am an empowered person who's asking for help because I want to stay in my zone of genius and I want to help other people stay in their zone of genius and I want to make sure that everyone else is also asking for help so we all can lean on each other in the pack and we can all survive and thrive. So we have some mantras around my house called teamwork makes the dream work. So we all help clean up dinner. We all help with chores. My wife and I have been really good at adopting like she goes and picks up the groceries and I put them away. Like we have this give and receive, this ebb and flow, this constant ebb and flow of asking for help and receiving it, right? Going back and forth. Also, one mantra that I have totally adopted in my life is like, I am done serving myself for dinner. It means like, I am not going to keep giving and not asking and not receiving, right? I'm done serving myself for dinner. I'm going to fill myself up first. And that's it. Yeah, my dog keeps coughing and I'm live online and it's okay. My wife just came down like, what the hell's going on? I just have slightly asthmatic dog here. Also, I'm a grateful human being. That's another good mantra you can use is I am a grateful human being. I ask for help so we can all feel joy, right? So everyone can stay in their zone of genius. All right. So come up with a mantra. So instead of picking an affirmation today, I want you to pick a mantra. So I have teamwork makes the dream work. I let go what doesn't serve me. I ask for help so we can all feel joy. I'm a grateful human being. I'm done serving myself for dinner. Or I ask for help because I matter. All right. Attach this as a link to more play shops that will liberate your heart and soul from self-defeating patterns like worrying and regret and all sorts of stuff that does not get you on your path to your joyfully ever after. You can always sign up for encouraging, heartwarming, and inspiring messages from yours truly and get a free Jumpstart to Joy guide at HeidiEsther.com/joy. On behalf of Olive, who seems to have calmed down, and myself, thank you so much for listening and watching. Would love to know what you thought either below or just pop in my inbox at howdy@HeidiEsther.com. Wishing you love, light, and laughter. Until next time, I'm Heidi Esther.